All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. DJ Yoakley and the legend Sam Torres with us. Sam, I'm going to fix this real quick. I know you had some of these issues with our friends over at StreamYard last night.
Yes.
So I got to get rid of it. It just looks weird. Like, I know Toyota Warren's probably sitting there like, I love it because we've got, two different things going. Let's get rid of that too while we're at it. You only get one, Tino. I know what you're trying to do here. Sam, I mean, you've been a part of YSN right now, I think officially we're about 11 months now because we jumped on right in August, right?
So right at the end of July. So yeah, we are
approaching the 1 year.
That 1 year anniversary is coming up very, very soon. And it's been awesome. You know what I mean?
I'm happy to hear that.
Since, from the first time we talked, it's, I think we were like-minded, and that sort of thing. And it was something that I kind of had going in Ashtabula, but, at a much smaller scale. And it was very cool to kind of get in here to somebody who had not only got his boots muddy, but had time to wash them off and get them muddy again. So, yeah, and as well as I do, I kind of lean into you for a lot of different things. And that's really one of the greatest things I think for over this past year is, getting the support and finding people who have the same kind of passion for youth, the athletes of our areas, and trying to give them as much, a big a chance as we possibly can.
And you've done that so well. You've done it even before YSN. But I mean, when you talk about guys that have leaned in, and you do it from a long distance away. I mean, you're 440. You were 440 on Goal. Now it's the 440 Sports Show. We've talked about YSN Ashtabula, stuff like that. I mean, you're a man that wears many hats. But the thing about it that I love is this is not your full-time gig. You are a traveling nurse by trade.
Yes,
helping people, during the day, and like Batman, freaking, helping their kids in their communities at night. What's it like for you? I know that you had your expectations, and you and Ryan at the time, you guys big on production value and doing like a game of the week, game of the night type scenario. And you've made a huge shift, which was very challenging for you to do. And you've embraced the frequency. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to do this every day. We're going to cover as many kids, as many teams, as many communities as we can. What was that like? Because it was like going against the grain for you, and you've just bear hugged it, man.
So when we first started, it was, we already knew the limitations that existed. Mm-hmm. We're two guys, we can only be at one place at one time. So it's like, well, if we're going to be here, you're getting 100% of what we got here. So bells and whistles, it was trying to, you as sports fans, you're always watching, ABC Sports, NBC Sports, ESPN Sports, and you see all these great things that they're doing. And you're like, I can do that. And I can do that. And it takes a lot of time and trying to learn these sort of things. Cause we didn't go to school for this. It was just learning. Yeah. And it was fun. And I loved doing that, but there gets to be a point where you develop relationships with so many schools and so many athletes that you start to wonder, like, how can I stretch this out? What is the easiest way to stretch this out? And some of that comes with, kind of not dumbing down, but rather kind of, I guess, paring down the production,
sure,
and offering it in a widespread area. And this year, I'm so excited because for the first year, and this is one of the things I was talking about on my show. I was talking about it a couple of weeks ago. For the first time, we are going to have dedicated broadcast teams for like 6 schools. And for the first time in Ashtabula County history, the question is not going to be, is the game streamed and where is it streamed? The answer is always yes. Yeah. It's yes, and it's YSN. And I can't be more proud about that because it's 60 games.
Yeah.
You're going, we've taken, where me and Ryan were, bouncing around getting 14 a season, and we've multiplied it by 5, by 6. And it's exposure. For these kids, it's something. One of the number one things I always hear is, I wish I had this when I was in high school. And I've really taken that to heart because I believe it too. Like there are times where I'd love to go back, even though we got our butt kicked by Steubenville, to watch that.
Absolutely.
But it's nowhere to be found. And even if it is, who's got a VCR? I mean, you know what I mean? I'm sure like that's one of the greatest things about it this year. And that's why, the partnership with YSN and getting in here and just going YSN all the way has made sense.
Yeah, and that's what it started as. It started as a partnership, but really it's turned into a brotherhood. You know, it's turned into, we talk about family and we talk about being a team all the time, but Sam, you've been closer than that. We've roomed together. So we've been there and we've been toe to toe, and there's many stories to share, which we'll go YSN Unplugged one night and just let loose. But dude, like it has been incredible to watch you literally become the voice of Ashtabula. I mean, people look to you, they come to you for advice. They come to you for direction. And it's really cool to see, because this was a dream of yours, and you started it. It's still a dream of yours. And even though when we bicker back and forth with each other late at night over a couple of adult pops, it's a thing where I don't care who you are. Nobody's going to tell you that the Ashtabula kids are any worse or any better than anybody else in the world. You believe in your county that much. Why is that?
You know, I think it's just because where I'm from, it's what made me. And I've seen the successes, and I think more than the successes, you get passion for the almost successes, the ones that you see that if opportunities like this existed, if they had a couple people in the right people in their corner, that, you know, they could have gone on to do good thing, you know, play, whether it's JUCO, D1, whatever. You know, I'm a personal believer that I think if you try as hard as you can, that 7% for you can grow exponentially. It's a lot about work and that sort of thing. And when you're the biggest county, but nowhere near the biggest population, and there are huge rural areas, the coverage isn't there. And if that's one thing I can change, then that's what I'm going to do. And I've seen these kids, and you get rose colored glasses because you're watching them, you know, you get to see them every day.
And that kind of leads me right into what we're really here to talk about is the Combine. I mean, this is the third year for the Ashtabula County Combine. You're putting it on. Why is this? And this was like when we talked last year, I remember this was heavy emphasis for you. Yes. This was, hey, you need to be here. You need to check this out because this is huge. Not knowing what you had when you came on to YSN and what we were planning down the road. This is like your be all and end all. Like this is something you're passionate about, and you're running it, correct me if I'm wrong, essentially by yourself at this point.
Yes.
Why is this so close to your heart?
So when we started 440 and Gold 3 years ago, it was initially just a sports podcast we were going to talk. And when we dove into high school, and then I went that was it, feed in on high school, I started looking at areas like Youngstown, areas like Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus, and seeing all these different athletic events that they have for their football players, and not just football players, for volleyball players, and ways to kind of highlight your students and ways to highlight their abilities and show that, you know, while this guy may go to Eds and runs a 4.4, you know, we got a guy that runs a 4.5 or a 4.6, and these are guys to look at. It's a point of pride. Yeah. And it's kind of one of those things like I thought it up. It was my baby. And you know, when you have that baby, you nurture it, and it becomes important to you. And it's always been kind of in the forefront, and it's the buy-in from the kids. You know, the first year we did it, we didn't have like awards and stuff like that, but I saw this competitive spirit jump out amongst each other. And one of the coolest things about the Combine is you don't run with your school. You get intertwined with a bunch of other schools. So we put the fastest guys in one group. We put the strongest guys in one group. And then there's a lot of middle guys who are kind of similar. You're competing within that group, but like it just brings like a camaraderie in there. And my favorite part of the Combine all day is when I get to see all of these kids and all of these helmets together on one place. It's like, you know, I likened it to the All-Star game, the baseball All-Star game. There's a moment in all of these things. In the basketball, it was the same deal. There's a moment where you look out there and there's all these different kids, all these different communities, different religions, different skin colors, different financial backgrounds. And they're all together trying to get better together. That's the best. It's the best thing you'll ever see. Yeah,
that's my favorite part of the All-Star games is seeing all the uniforms, seeing all those kids that are trying to get better together. Okay, so let's break down the Combine. Mm-hmm. What does it look like? What do people need to be aware of? For people that in year 4 of your Combine, like how can they get involved? What should they prep? We're not going to give dates or anything like that, but like what events do you have that people can really work on, and how should I know what the bench press, the 40-yard dash, what else is there?
So there's the vertical.
Okay.
We're going to measure out the vertical. We do the broad jump.
Okay.
And the medicine ball throw. And the medicine ball throw is actually something we incorporated last year, and it took place at the Eldro. So I've talked to a lot of different college coaches, and I asked them, like, what are these things you're looking at? I've looked at like the Nike skill camps.
Yeah.
And the Eldro, while it does have its worth, it's very heavy on skill positions.
Okay.
And it's very hard to get linemen to show explosiveness. And the bench press, it sells the tickets, and people love to watch it.
Absolutely.
Myself included. It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
I fought to keep this in there because there were years where people didn't really want to do it. And you bump it down from 225 to 185.
Okay.
That's the high school weight. But I think but the medicine ball throw, which has taken place, is an explosive technique, and it gives. I talked to Coach DJ Bolden from Lake Erie College.
Okay.
And he said, we're looking, strength is great. Explosiveness is what gets you on the field.
Gotcha.
So we put that in there. And then the rest of it was just looking at like the NFL combine. Like I'm a football guy, that.
A little bit. Sam was ready for football in April.
Yes. Like it's, football could be 12 months a year for me. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, I watched the combines and those sort of things. And I was looking at the way they were testing and those sort of things. And what, if the NFL guys are looking at it, obviously the college guys have to take it into account. So that's where you add that in. And it's giving these kids a chance to show their skills. Yeah. And I think the way it's set up right now with the 40-yard, the medicine ball throw, the bench press, the vertical leap, the broad jump, and the shuttle, which is your lateral movement.
Yep.
Yeah. Every football player who's going to be on the field is going to have a chance to show something they're good at.
So do you divide, is it individuals and then you like, I don't know, add up all those for teams too? Or is it just specifically for the strongest, the fastest in each individual event?
So that's one of the fun things we do is there are 4 awards given out.
Okay.
The first award is for the fastest overall 40 time. And if you tie, we have a runoff.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, it's very, very fun. And then there's an individual award given for most bench press reps, which this year, going into this year, the record holder is a kid by the name of Sam Petros, who's playing at Edinburgh, who benched 185 33 times.
I heard you say that last night. I'm sitting there, I was like, whoa.
It was and you've seen, and you want to talk about a moment where everybody, regardless of what color shirt they were wearing or helmet or team everybody was hype. Yeah. Everybody's going, come on, Sam. And he's got a great name too.
Yeah.
So that,
of course.
But so that was the first year. That's but we also do the team. So we take all the 40 times for everybody who runs, and everybody has to run. You can't,
even the big boys.
Just because you got a defensive tackle out there that maybe 350, he's running it. So if he runs a 6'4", then it's going to bring your time down. But we take that whole time and we average it out. And
oh, you got this. Will Sam Torres be competing? The people want to know, says Chris Sigler.
I'll tell you what, the only thing I might compete in is the medicine ball throw. The 40-yard dash, I don't think we have enough time for me to do. And,
no, that's interesting. That's interesting. How much? So let's roll back to that here in a second. When you have this stuff happen, this is all, it's $5 at the gate, mm-hmm. right? For everybody, no matter what. The players get in for free. The coaches get in for free.
Yes.
Okay. So, when people come in, they give their $5. We've all been there. The All-Star game, they go, what am I paying $5 to watch people exercise, right? Mm-hmm. What does the $5 go towards?
So the $5 is going to go toward, one of the things we've done in the past is we give out scholarships for the Asheville County Player of the Year. Last year's winner was Grant Hitchcock. He had a lot. They know a lot about him over here on this network.
A little bit.
It helps fund those, and it actually helps fund some of the volleyball stuff we give out last year as well. So it's all about the events, the scholarship. Everything goes right back into local athletes and providing opportunities to make them feel special.
So here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put the heat on you. I'm going to put you on the spot. As you know, when the combine happens in the NFL, Rich Eisen runs the 40, and he does it to raise money for a charity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put the challenge out to you. I'm going to have you do every single thing in the combine.
Okay.
If you do it, I'll give you a free $500 scholarship from YSN.
Okay. All right. So that happens.
All right. So there it is. and I want, it needs to be documented.
Yes, it will be.
And then I want it published on YSN, and then I'll cut you a check for $500 right now. I mean, that's because I believe in what you're doing. Obviously, I love what you're doing. And if we can help another kid get a scholarship that is their burden and it costs you, now don't die. Don't do anything stupid. Okay. Don't eat like a Baconator and then go do the 40. But I mean, it's because I know you're trying to get healthy as well. I mean,
Yes.
That's something that you've and I hope I'm not like breaking any news here.
Absolutely.
But it's one of those things, like, I think that we can use this as a bar for where you're at year after year after year. And hey, I'll tell you what, if I'm there, I'll run it with you. I'll do it all with you. And then we can at least make fun of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. So, dude, I believe in you so much. I think what you're doing is phenomenal. What things do you want people to know about this combine that don't, like you didn't explain, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why does it exist? Why should it be important to teams, to student athletes, and things of that nature?
So one of the biggest parts is it gets kids out in a competitive. They get out there and they get to compete against each other and try and get better together. You know, it's all one big group of kids getting together. You know, I think, in the past, we've taken these numbers, we've sent them out. I know last year, I'm going to try and do the same thing this year. I have a huge email list where I don't know if they ever read them or not, but they get them. Yeah. It's like 75 different colleges. I just send the numbers because that's what you get. It's all about trying to give them an extra shot. You know what I mean? The lower your population, the lower exposure you get, the more shots you got to get, and the harder you have to work to get those shots. And the kids, when they go out here, and this is why I want people to attend, because it's super fun to compete, and you're always going to do that, whether there's one person in the stands or 500 people in the stands. It's a lot more fun when there's 500 people in the stands, though.
A little bit. I mean, it really is. I mean, think about COVID versus, the year 2021 after COVID, when everybody got to come back, the excitement. People were talking. I mean, I know you had the same thing when people had the chills again on the field. When you're playing in front of nobody, no matter what you're doing, it's like you against you, and that's it.
Yes.
And that's it. But when there's people screaming, you said when Sam was being cheered, I bet that adrenaline was pumping, and it helps you out. It really does get to that next level. So that's inspiring stuff, man. So you're a guy who played football, right? In high school. Any more sports?
Yeah, I wrestled.
Okay.
I ran track briefly.
Yeah. Ran or threw?
I ran.
Oh my gosh.
I ran. Briefly ran track. And I played baseball as a freshman, but high school is a very good it's a very good spot to figure out if you're supposed to be here or not. Yeah. And God bless my coach, because he gave me a shot out there. But next year I changed my 2-digit number for a 3-digit number and started running track.
I mean, I know why, and people ask me all the time, why do you do this? And it's certainly not for us, right? No. Why do you do this?
Part of it is the fact that I think that the area needed it.
Yeah.
The area needs it. The kids need it. It's always about them. And I look back at myself, Sam Torres, in 2005 as a senior. And I think to myself, like, how cool it would have been. And there was a guy, we had a radio guy. He's one of my biggest inspirations. His name is Joe Pete.
Yeah.
And, he had a radio show where you could be featured. And if you were on that radio show, man, you were the top of the top. Like the feeling of that. Now, I'll be honest with you. I never made that. Okay. I never made the show. But just watching how much I admired that. And there was nobody doing that. And I know that these kids deserve it. They deserve to have their time in the sun. Yep. And whether it stops when they get their diploma or whether it's something that they can utilize when they're going on to the next level, as long as I can give them something, as long as I can make them feel a little bit special, I'm winning.
I love it, man. That's the stuff that people don't understand. Like the nights where you sit there and you go, why am I doing this? You know what I mean?
Yes.
But then you actually think about your why. You actually think about why you're doing it. And because there's a kid out there that is on the fringe of going to college and advancing, not just their playing career, but their career in general, and not. You know what I mean? It's the difference between motivating a kid to go another day or quitting the team. You know, there's a kid out there that goes, man, I guarantee this. I guarantee there's a kid out there, a student athlete that says, I can't wait till Sam interviews me, you know? And that is the difference. You're that guy now. You're Joe.
Yeah.
You're Joe. And, you know, even though you were never able to get on there, now you are the next generation of that. And people can't say, man, I can't wait. I know I made it if I'm on 440 Sports Show. I know I made it if I'm on YSN and, you know, if I'm a big dog of the valley and stuff like that. What people don't know, Sam, is you're the guy that's advocating for them. I mean, I'm getting the emails, the text messages, and it's, hey, we need to get somebody from Ashtabula on. and sure, man, but you show the stats, and nobody in this company knows stats and gets stats better than you.
It is a passion. The stats portion is something that matters to me too, because, you know, when it comes to awards, a lot of time there's a lot of comments on it's political and it's this and it's that. You know as well as I do. We hear them. In this last year, I've heard them in the few awards I've been a part of. But one thing that doesn't lie are numbers. And I think one of the things I've always leaned into was I will always give you the opportunity if you work at it. And if you figure out a way, I don't care if you're playing Division 7 or Division 1, be the best at where you're at. And I promise you I'll work everything I have to get you out there. And stats is the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. That's no lie. And you certainly work, and you work overtime with that stuff. We got some time left. Okay. What things are you looking forward to? I know, listen, and I'm being dead serious. There's a camera. So when you talk to Sam Torres, you might as well just notch in about 15 minutes about football, no matter what season you're in.
It's true.
This is your time of year, man. This is the beast. You call me and you're like, hey, what's football season? It's football season now. Yes, Sam, I know. It's a monster. And you got your first taste last year. Now, obviously you were very much more into the Ashtabula, and you'll still, I mean, we're never, ever going to take that away from you. That's part of our literally part of our handshake deal.
Yes.
But you've become a face and a guy that behind the scenes has made YSN grow, and your ideas and your passions and your thoughts and beliefs of literally getting the kids more, getting the coaches more, getting these kids more opportunities. Literally 365 and 24/7. I admire that to no ends. What are you looking forward to most this year that you're sitting there going, man, like licking your lips, salivating, because you know it's going to be hard to repeat with 3 state championship appearances. It's going to be Jefferson's going to have a tough time repeating because now everybody knows who they are. What are you most looking forward to as part of the YSN team now that we're bringing to the table this year that maybe nobody knows about or they haven't heard of yet?
So one of my favorite parts of last year was actually familiarizing myself with the teams in the Valley, with the YSN teams. It's the best part. It's like if you're somebody who loves candy and you get to walk into Willy Wonka's shop. It's everywhere. Everything you want. Football, you can be football all day long if you want, because there's 70 schools now. You know, this year I'm looking. It's the matchups, and that was one of the reasons why I put a post out on the 440 Sports page. It's the matchups. There are huge matchups coming up this year. The powerhouses are meeting, and I love it. And I want to see the JFKs, and I want to see Canfield and South Range. I'm pumped for that. I didn't know them until last year, and yet this year I'm completely enthralled in their season.
And how they go.
How do you come back from that? Yeah. You know, Ursuline, you know, the big bad Ursuline, which, you know, Lakeside is going to take on. And that's something I knew about from last year because I was good friends with the athletic director. And when that was on there, I was like, this is beautiful. Like, you want to see good football. You want to see it with football. The best part is you want to see this team's good. This team's good. Who's better?
And it's interesting you brought up the South Range, because South Range is going to be playing Warren JFK. And you sent me a text just out of the blue one day, and it was, man, I'm so looking forward to JFK South Range. And I was like, Sam Torres is talking about Mahoning County football? Who this?
It's those matchups, they jump off the page because I got a taste. And I already had a love for it.
Yeah.
So you see these two, like JFK, who's probably been a perennial powerhouse forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
As far as I know, Warren JFK has been and will be again.
Yeah.
And then South Range, who I became acclimated to, honestly, in the last couple of years, and it was through Jefferson in the NE8.
Yep.
And Jefferson has, when I remember talking to Coach Hanna, and he talked about this monster down in Canfield, and I was like, what are you talking about? And then I saw it. And now I get to watch not bullies, but I get to watch the two big kids wrestle.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that's good stuff. It's great football. And then you talk about the culture of both of them, the coaching, and how this isn't just going to be, the biggest and the baddest. It's going to be the smartest and coaches and cultures who really buy into excellence.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite part of football. When you get to see programs like that face off against each other, like, I'm football all the time. Glenville's playing Dinwiddie this year. I'm going. I got to see this.
We were golfing, and you're like, "Hey, they're playing." I was like, "Why do you know that? Why does that have space in your head?" Like, I'm sitting here like bogged down because I'm like, "All right, how are we going to get this many people to do this many games?" And you're like, "Man, if there's a day off, like, let's just get up and go." And I was like, "What is a day off?"
Yeah.
But dude, I got to tell you, I'm incredibly proud of you because knowing that you were football, and that's the first thing you and Ryan said. Hey, we're football heavy. It's 4-4-0 in goal, as it started. So I understood, but your knowledge, your enthusiasm of basketball, you did volleyball games last year. You did baseball games. Did you do softball as well?
Yes.
Okay. So when you look at that, Sam, that's where I think you've grown the most. You're not trained to be an announcer.
No.
You just kind of build it in, learn the technical stuff about it, and go. What I'm so proud of you, and I know this has turned into a love fest, but what I'm so proud of you is you've been a coachable person, a coachable student. You know what I mean, from that standpoint, because you came in and you said, "Listen, this is what we do. I know it's not right. Show me what you do." And not everything we do is right by a long shot, but this is how we do. I mean, even up to last week when I'm saying, okay, this is what we have to do. We have to make it profitable, right? I use the air quotes because you're not keeping the profits, you're putting them into a scholarship,
right?
Which most people will sit there and go, well, he's cutting himself a check. Like, they don't understand, like, these lights don't stay on because of smiles and giggles.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm proud of you, and you've grown so much in 11 months that there's times where I'm sure you're like, this guy's an absolute like terrorist of a leader. And I just thank you for being able to be flexible, and guys like you and Sigler and Ty's chiming in as well too. He says 100% fantastic addition to the company. The value Sam brings is tremendous.
I appreciate it, Ty. That's my guy.
There's not one person, that has told me that you're even a mediocre addition. Like, everybody that we've talked to is Sam is it. The future is having Sam as part of the leadership team, as part of the executive team, whatever it's called. Sam has to be a part of it because you always bring that devil's advocate to it, right? And if you're not bringing it, I am.
Right.
So I feel like we are the same guy. It's you're bringing this side, I'm bringing this side, and we marry it together. We go, okay, I didn't see it from that lens, which I love. Sigler chimed in and said, absolutely looking forward to working with Sam from beginning of the school year this year. And that's a guy that has, as you've seen, embraced a role before he even had a role.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Sigler has been a huge addition to our mission. And he's not, when I'm getting text messages and I can't see, I mean, we all know the background. I'm getting text messages and I'm like, Sigler, I can't see this. It's one of those things. He's on vacation, 2 weeks ago, he's on vacation again this week. And he's all he's thinking about is YSN. He's thinking about these, not because of we're making money. He's thinking of it because what can we do for these student athletes? What can we do for these communities that helps them? And dude, you're the epitome of that. Like I love, there's a quote that says sometimes you're not going to have people in the left lane and right lane when you're running track, right? I didn't have that. There's no blueprint. There's nobody doing what we're doing.
Right.
But when I've got you, I know that, hey, I'm running the race, but I know you want to beat me. It brings out that competitive spirit. And I think you do that for a lot of the guys here. So thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. The combine is going to kill it Saturday. I'm going to do my damnedest to get there. And so should you. You really should there. Jefferson High School, admission's $5. It goes right to scholarships, folks. It goes right to scholarships. So if you think your kid has a chance at the scholarship, you might want to feed into that. You know what I mean? And even if you don't, that's an Ashtabula kid.
Yes.
Getting a 500 now with, when you run, there'll be another scholarship to add to that list. You're not keeping that money.
No, it's always going back to the kids. And that's one of the things I think that, I've really kind of pride myself on. And what I learned very early on in this journey is the passion is what's going to separate you. And if you don't really want to win for the kids, if you don't really, if you're going to accept mediocrity, you don't have a long time in here. If you're not trying to get better. And that's one of the things when I got in here, it was something that me and Ryan had been doing ourselves. And, we had a bit of success as well and notoriety and that sort of thing. But the moment that you go into anything and you think that you can't get better, you've already started to fail.
You lost.
So you got to take that stuff in. And that's not just in broadcasting or business. It's the athletes. It's everything. And it's something that I preach to my kids as well.
Compete,
get better. You're never the best you can be. And you never will be unless you keep trying. So,
amen, brother. This rocket ship we call YSN is just getting started, and we're getting through that. As the spaceship kind of, how it goes up, and then all of a sudden it's in that gravitational pull, and it's got to fight through it. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're on the back end of that, and what I love about it is, I'm telling you, we're still going to be competing when we're in the stratosphere because we got dudes that are not going to settle, and right at the top of that list is you, my friends. Thank you for everything you brought. We're excited to put more on your plate. Yes. I know it's not exciting.
Yeah.
And
I got room on my plate
though. So we'll make sure we fill that plate up for you, man. It's like Thanksgiving all the time around here, and you're a big reason, and we love having you at the table. So thank you very much for stopping by, making the plane trip down from Ashtabula to East Palestine, Ohio. I'll treat you to a burger here after this. So
nice.
Sammy, thank you so much. I appreciate you, brother. We're gonna do the Joe Dickey Electric. What's your spark? If you got one,
I got one.
All right, let's do it. Here we go. It's the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our good friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, industrial, anything electrical, make sure you're visiting dickeyelectric.com. Tell Eric Carlson, my good buddy, that YSN sent you. Would you? Would you help us pay for some advertising? My spark is great people and had a procedure done today, a little personal info, so you can shut it off if you want. And scared to death. I anytime I go to a doctor's office, man, and you as a traveling nurse, I've confessed to you, I get terrified. My blood pressure goes through the roof. Like, I have white coat syndrome. I've never got good news at a doctor, and even worse news today when there's needles involved. So, kudos to guys like you that told me, hey man, you got to do this. Like, you got to live. Like, you're working your ass off to see this through. So, thank you to you. Thank you to the Dr. Kaufman. I know he's probably not watching. He finally told me today he knew who I was, other than just a patient. So that was kind of cool. But thank you to the nurse that comforted me and was like, you're going to live, you're going to be okay. There's people a lot older than you and a lot weaker than you that do this. So just, but dude, I prayed. I'm sitting there on my steering wheel and I'm just like, dear God, get me through this. Please give me faith. Give me, give me anything, give me guidance. Like, I was terrified. And I'm not going to, in case there's some weirdo like me out there listening, I'm not going to tell him where that shot went. And it's not that bad. But it's pretty bad. Like, let's just put it this way. I can see it. I can see it. Sammy, what's your spark?
So my spark, and I'm super excited to get to do this because I've wanted to do this since I started coming around the Power Hour. So my spark is the supporting cast that I have. It's my family, it's the coaches, it's YSN, it's the people that one of the things I pride myself is my undying pursuit of excellence, and you cannot continue your pursuit without people in your corner. I have a wife that does more than I could ever do.
She's the real MVP.
She really is. She really is. I've got great daughters. The athletic directors who I've worked with, the coaches, just to have the open arms and the foresight to know that this is good for them. Without that support, I can't do anything. So my spark is their generosity and being able to help me continue to try and make things better for everybody else.
That spark felt good, didn't it?
It did.
It felt good. Sammy, you're always welcome here on the Power Hour, man. I know you're busy, but 3 o'clock slot, it's yours. It's yours. Here's one.
Yes.
Mark Roth. I knew it.
Yes, my guy.
My spark is watching two great dudes doing what they do and sitting in the athletic studio. I appreciate Mark. We can't appreciate you enough, dude. You are the combined spark. You are the flame, my friend. That's going to do it for our show. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you so much. Please continue to support what Sam does, 440 Sports Show, and of course, YSN in Ashtabula. And I know last night you were looking for sponsors in Ashtabula. If you'd like to continue to sponsor YSN, it's as easy as going to ysnlive.com/advertise. Check it out there. Send us a message. Get us started. And if you want to become part of the team, you want to become part of the mega powers. Ooh, yeah, cream of the crop. Send us a message. We got billboards out there. Sam was on the billboard today with Ty Bartell. So send us a message. We'll get you started. Trust me, it's not as terrifying as looking a needle dead in the eye. Okay. It's not as terrifying as that. It's actually a good time, and we can get you on the Power Hour. You can talk your passion for sports as well. For Sam Torres, my name is DJ Yoakley. That's going to do it. We'll see you Monday for I'm at a Guardians game tomorrow, so I'm out. So no Scotty, and I think Monday we might be at Athletics. That's might awesome. Be the debut. Yeah. It might be the debut. Fingers crossed. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Stay